known as a brain surgeon or a rocket scientist, but the guy's hit the nail on the head, man. I mean, he's talking about control what you can control, and in baseball as a pitcher, there's not a lot you can control. You make a great pitch, give up a hit. Make a bad pitch, get it out. The goal is to make good pitches consistently. And also in performance, there's two rules that you've got to understand. The first is you've got to be in control of yourself before you can control your performance. Mind control leads to body control, leads to pitch control. You got to be in control of your mind before you can control your performance. And as a pitcher, you've got little control of what goes on around you, total control of how you choose to respond to it. Can't control umpires, errorless play of your defense, coach, fans, weather, mountain conditions. All you can control is how you choose to respond to it. So choose to respond to it in a positive, processed, present moment with a healthy perspective and being able to compete as best as you can. Now, talking about pitching performance and pitching routines, we get into self-control, plan, and trust. And as a pitcher, I got to be in control of myself. I've got to have my plan, what I'm trying to do on this pitch. I've got to be able to trust myself that I can execute the pitch. So we talk about with pitching is the first thing a pitcher has to have is an awareness or a recognition of where they're at mentally and physically. And I call this recognition and this awareness just like driving a car. You drive a car, you come to the intersection, you got green lights, what do? No brainer. You go. You're pitching, you're throwing well, things are going your way, you got green lights, what do? Man, you pitch. You let it go. But if you come to that intersection, you've got yellow lights, you got to check the intersection for approaching police officer, see what's going on, slow down and stop, or you go. But you check in before you do anything. If you come to a red light in a car and you keep going, you're going to crash and burn. In pitching, if you get to a yellow light, which can be a guy making an error, umpire screwing a call, you throwing a ball, giving up a base hit, whatever your yellow lights are, if you don't let go of them and get back to the present moment, you're trying to throw those two balls at one time like we talked about earlier. So coaches, players, I would pull out a piece of paper and write down, what am I doing? What am I saying to myself? What am I feeling when I'm at a green light, a yellow light, and a red light? Develop that awareness. Because once you have the awareness of what happens when you get out of a green light, you can then change from a yellow back to a green, get back in control, and control the game. So once you recognize what you've got to do is you've got to release. We pulled out the toilet, we pulled out the monkey, we talked about letting go of the bricks. Now how does that work as a pitcher? Okay? Well, how do I release as a pitcher? I take my glove off, I will get off of the dirt, I get on the grass. I get on the grass, I'm rubbing up the ball. Okay? I say get on the grass, why? Most grass is green. What are we trying to do? Get back to a green light. Get on the grass, rub up the ball. Allow yourself to be upset and frustrated because it's not going your way and you've worked really hard and things aren't happening for you. But once you get back on that mound, boom, sternum's up, get big, get on the rubber, let's go, compete. Okay, so you get off the mound, you release, you flush your toilet. So you're in self-control, you've got your routine, your plan, what am I trying to do on this pitch, and you trust yourself from your training. We're going to show you some routines of pitchers. Jason Windsor from Cal State Fullerton, and I'm going to talk to you about his routine and how he takes a breath to show that he's in control. Because taking a breath for a pitcher as part of your pre-pitch routine is a signal to yourself, your teammates, and your coaches that, hey, I'm in control of myself. So here's what you're going to see. You're going to see the player get on the mound. He's going to clean the dirt again, clean the dirt. The other pitcher here was here before. Don't need him, don't care about him. This is my mound. I own this mound. Get rid of the spikes marks. You get on the mound, you're here. You'll see Troy Percival in one of his video clips look down at a rock on the ground because if he can focus on a rock, he's in control of himself. He'll look at the rock, take a breath, come up, get the sign. Fastball in. Pitch. Let it go. Okay? How does self-control, plan, trust play itself out in your pitching routine? here's what the pitcher does. Okay? Self-control, I'm looking at the rock. Get the sign, fastball in. My breath says I'm in control. My plan is what I call my pitch thought. I'm saying to myself, fastball in, fastball in, fastball in, or blow this guy up, blow this guy up. And my pitch thought is linked to my plan of what I'm trying to do. If I'm trying to throw a curveball on the back of the plate, I say, bounce it, bounce it, bounce it, bounce it, as I'm throwing my curveball. So it comes like this. I get the sign, I do my breath on the rock, get the sign, fastball in, come up here. Notice how my shoulders sink down with the breath. Right now, I'm visualizing the last 2 or 3 feet to my fastball and running in. Boom, blow them up, blow them up. Saying it to myself in my head, I make the pitch. Again, if I was to say to you, don't think of pink elephants for the next 5 minutes, what jumps in your head? A pink elephant. We talked earlier about is the pitcher. If you say, don't hang this curveball, what are you going to do? You're going to hang the curveball. So when you're here, your pitch thought needs to be something aggressive, something that you like, something you say to yourself that is directly linked to what you're trying to do. Blow this guy up, bounce it, soft, change up, soft, let it come out of my hand soft, whatever it is. Okay? So you're going to see some video of Jason Windsor. You're going to see some video of Troy Percival.
So here's a video clip of Jason Windsor from Cal State Fullerton in 2003 in Omaha versus LSU. You'll notice him stretching his legs a little bit tight. This is the first time he's pitched in Omaha. And you'll notice that he's going to have no breath as part of his pre-pitch routine. Notice the height of his shoulders. He's tense. There's no sinking of the shoulders. And there's a good pitch right there that's called a ball. And you'll notice that Jason goes on to throw 6 balls in a row before Coach Dave Serrano comes out of the dugout. And Coach Serrano, who is now the head coach at UC Irvine, said in an interview that when he went out to talk to Jason, Jason said he was having a hard time breathing. And here's a pitcher who had been doing mental training all season long and was one of the most mentally tough athletes I've ever had the opportunity to be around. And he had finally got to the point where he was a little bit out of his own element and didn't know how to respond to the situation. He had, again, sweating profusely. You can notice he's got very rushed movements. You'll see a totally different Jason Windsor when we show you a clip from 2004 when he was the tournament's most outstanding player in the Cal State Fullerton's national championship season. Let's take a look at Jason Windsor in 2004. So here you're going to see Coach Dave Serrano, the pitching coach at Cal State Fullerton, going to the mound to talk to Jason after he had thrown 6 straight balls. And again, from talking to Coach Serrano, Jason said, I'm having a hard time breathing, having a hard time holding onto the ball. So I think for all pitchers, there becomes a certain point, and whether maybe that's the College World Series, maybe that's your state championship, maybe it's a playoff game, but wherever it is, no matter how mentally tough you are, everyone has a breaking point. And for a guy as good as Jason Windsor, this was his. But because he had practiced routines and had mental training, he was able to turn this performance around and get the win for the Titans in that first game against LSU, and then go on to have an outstanding performance the following year in the College World Series versus Texas, when the Titans again won their national championship. So here you're going to see Jason in 2004 against Texas. Notice how he comes set, good deep breath, watch his shoulders sink, and then he pitches. And I'll show that clip over and over again, and I'll scan in as we get closer, but I want you to watch his shoulders sink as he takes his deep breath. And we rotated this next clip backwards so you'll see for left-handed perspective. Notice the shoulders sink, very subtle, good deep breath, pre-pitch routine. You're now going to see a video clip of Troy Percival of the Anaheim Angels, and you're going to see him stare at a rock on the ground.